of new faces here today, and I just want to give an opportunity for everyone to introduce themselves. My name is Jennifer Hassell. I'm the Executive Director here at the Chelsea Chamber of Commerce. I'm also a longtime resident of Chelsea, very proudly I would say that. And I want to thank everyone for coming out to February's community outreach, especially today being Valentine's Day. With that being said, we just want to remind everybody that we have the community outreach meetings every month, and this is an opportunity to give the community a platform to share any concerns that they have or any suggestions and just meet your local community stakeholders. I implore people to please come to the chamber, to come to these community outreach meetings. If you're not able to attend, send information over on questions that you'd like asked, because we will ask them on your behalf. With that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Steve Staffier so he can introduce himself, and we'll go around the table.
Thank you, Jen. Steve Staffier, I'm the city's Emergency Management Director.
Haley Guzman, I work for Colin Hotels. We manage 4 hotels here in Chelsea and 6 hotels total in the Boston Logan Market.
Hello everyone, I'm Officer Nicole McLaughlin. I'm with the Community Service Division Downtown Task Force Unit.
Hi everyone, I'm Erica Cheplis. I'm the Training Program Manager at the Children's Advocacy Center of Suffolk County. So we serve Boston, Chelsea, Revere, and Winthrop. We work really closely with many of the Chelsea organizations, so we wanted to just come out and connect.
Yeah, hi, my name is Lucas Mong, and I'm the Community Outreach Coordinator at the Suffolk CAC, so Erica is my colleague. So what we're doing on our CAC is coordinating the first response team for like a family who are impacted by serial physical abuse, sexual abuse, and also exploitations. And I'm so happy to be here in this community, like in this meeting, and then to connect with you guys. And also thank you, Jennifer, for the opportunity for us to connect, and also with the Chelsea's community as well.
Welcome.
My name is Kayla Velez. I'm here from United for Chelsea. It's a group of pastors, Hispanic pastors of the community that are working together, and I'm here just to get more information so I can pass it along and be more helpful to the community.
Thank you.
Hi, Bernabe Rodriguez, Director of Constituent Services for the City of Chelsea.
Welcome.
I'm Lisa Santigate, and I'm the City Councilor for District 5. I'm also the chairperson for the Subcommittee on Public Safety, so I have learned a lot in my first 6 weeks in office.
Thank you for being here.
Fidel Maltez, I'm the City Manager, and I've also learned a lot in my first 6 weeks in office, but it's just I appreciate the space, and I appreciate how informal this conversation is, and I appreciate that we can have relationships with each other that really goes beyond work. I think doing this up in the community is fantastic. We will have another one in March, where we are going to be diving into some details about downtown Broadway and the upcoming construction that is going to happen. So I do hope that a lot of businesses come over, but I love how it's a monthly conversation, right? And it's not just a one-time event.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Chief Keith Houghton from the Police Department. Just glad you're all here. Only been the chief for about 1.5 years, but been here a long time, over 37 years. I'm very excited about the new City Council, very engaged and proactive, and the City Manager, same thing, like right off the top, one of his first duties was getting out ahead of a lot of stuff and having planned meetings, which communication is the biggest thing, especially when it comes to public safety. We want to make sure stuff is accurate and that we're answering things that we may not know about. So and Jennifer, obviously, I've been coming to every chamber meeting she's had. Just a great format, getting everybody together in an informal way and trying to negotiate or navigate whatever issues everybody's having. So thank you for hosting this once again, even on Valentine's Day.
I just also want to give a shout out to my staff, Karim Perez, our office manager, Amy Velez, our office admin, and of course one of our board members and biggest supporters, David Midland. With that, as we mentioned, this really is an informal we like to keep the meetings informal, but with that, I'm going to kind of defer to the chief and to the city manager to kind of take the lead with this month's topic, which is to kind of just discuss maybe some of the concerns that are going around in the community and some things and programming that we're looking to potentially put into place to kind of help address some of the concerns that some of the community members have.
Please.
So basically, we are trying to be proactive in whatever is going on in the community. We've had, obviously, a lot of communication, a lot of intelligence, there's a lot of moving parts. Chelsea is one of the, I always call it like the biggest little city in America. We have such a diverse population, such a unique population, but it's such like a community population that we're a big city, but small enough to handle big problems. Again, that's the best way I guess we can handle it. Our worry in law enforcement and the police locally, there's a regional issue. There's a lot of young kids actively engaged in, I never want to call it gang stuff, but lack of better terms, and that's what they call themselves. It's happening in Revere, it's happening in Everett. Young kids, these 13 to 17-year-old kids don't know city boundaries. And we're behind on knowing who they are. We're trying to gather all our resources to address it appropriately. The good thing, if anybody's been around for several years, back in the early days, I've been involved in the youth effort and how we learned from our mistakes back in the 90s, mid-2000s, when we really had a serious issue. We have so many things in place. Like I said, we have strong leadership at government, strong leadership at the neighborhood level, and we have such great assets like the Chamber and Jennifer and the collaborative right next door and working with Roca. We have a good plan in place. But we're forecasting there will be issues. We have young kids that we're trying to gain access to and divert them in a positive way. I just want to let you know what my philosophy of policing is now. I've been here since 1986. Where in 1986 it was arrest your way out of it, and you don't know anybody. You would wrestle with kids on the street, and we would make like 3,800 arrests with half the size police department. Turn back to 2024, my whole thing is a public health approach, public health policing. Mental health issues is a serious issue all across the spectrum. Officer McLaughlin works with opioid and people suffering from alcohol addiction at that far end of the age group. And now we have young people who are in houses that they've come from Central America. They're not even with their moms, their dads. They're stuck in a new school. They're trying to navigate their life with with a 14-year-old brain, which is difficult. So our whole philosophy is public health approach. We met today in a meeting with all the social service providers, and that is my goal. It's my whole philosophy besides that is always engagement over enforcement. I've always done that since I wouldn't have lasted almost 38 years. You treat people with respect, you treat people with dignity. That's what I expect my officers to do at all times. Are we going to have hiccups? Are we going to have issues that we have to make arrests? Yes, 1,000%. And we do have those mechanisms. But I just want to let everybody to know like the philosophy of what we're trying to do. It's from the city council, city manager, local neighborhood groups, civic groups. The DA's office is much more engaged now. I thank you guys being here. But it does, they say it takes a village, it takes the whole city. It really does. It takes not just the city, it takes people who work here, own businesses here, and to address it and have, like I said, you need someone, a strong leader, like our city manager who, he's here for the long run, he's a young man. So, and it's going to take all of us to get through these hiccups. But we are much better off than people, if you hear, we're better off than other communities. We have much better communication networks. We have the hub that Officer McLaughlin's involved in, which is fascinating. We're going to start a youth hub to address these younger kids. And I can answer that later. I'll let the city manager talk what that is. And Officer McLaughlin can, she's been on it since its inception with how amazing and how it takes pretty much everybody to have a game plan for the people we're trying to serve. So I was a little long-winded, but as the questions get more detailed, I'll answer everybody. So I'll let the city manager speak.
Thank you. about 2 weeks ago now, I recorded a message that was recorded on Chelsea Community Cable, and in the message, I just wanted to reassure the residents, right? That I think when we see stuff on Facebook, when we see stuff, it's word of mouth. It's really easy for incidents to be misconstrued, for things to grow, out of proportion. So, what I wanted to reassure residents is that I live in Chelsea. I've never felt unsafe in Chelsea. I'm a runner. I run on Broadway all hours of the day and night, and I've never felt unsafe in Chelsea. What I have learned in the 6 weeks that I guess it's longer than 6 weeks now, maybe 7 weeks. But what I've learned is that what is happening right now at this moment is really really complicated cases, I guess, that have a lot of overlap with youth, with particularly youth that are traveling from other communities, right? It might not be necessarily Chelsea residents full time, and I've also learned that they are not random. Right, it's actually it's events that are linked to either people who know each other or is targeted. It's not necessarily that things are happening in our community that are affecting all of us. They are unfortunate, but it was a message to reassure our residents that I do think that Chelsea is a safe community. I think the other thing that I mentioned is that I truly believe that Chelsea has the best police department in the Commonwealth. I say that all the time, and I'll sing it from the rooftops as our councilor has said. I've had the benefit of working in another community, and the engagement of Chelsea police is legendary. It's actually known throughout our state. And it is it's complicated because we don't want to arrest our way out of this, but we need to put a stop to it, right? So I think if it was an easy answer, it'd be easier to fix. But we want to come up with a solution that is comprehensive and doesn't just kick the can down the road, if you will. So thank you.
And I can just add that part of our strategy, there's a lot of moving parts in policing. I try to be a face forward chief. I want to be out there. I'll go to every meeting. I love the city. I'm just like the city manager. I don't carry a firearm off duty. I live here. I walk around. I've never felt uncomfortable. I did feel uncomfortable in the 2013 to 15 time. I did. I did carry a firearm. I think the city's come so far. These incidents are isolated, but that doesn't make you feel any better if it happens in front of your house and someone could get hurt who's innocent, and we just don't want that. So our philosophy is just like any study, we have so many good kids in the city. It's always 98%, probably 99.5, just want to live a normal childhood, go to high school, go to college. It's a small percentage of kids that are involved in this, and it really is. The problem is they're semi-organized for being a young age. They cross boundaries, East Boston, Everett, Lynn, the DA's office. We're talking 3 different districts now. We're talking Essex County, Middlesex County. There's a lot of communication barriers that go on. But we do have investigations that are always ongoing now. We have officers assigned to the FBI that just deal with youth. We have officers, a sergeant, and there will be another detective that will be assigned with the ETF to address gun violence. And then we're going to have our community engagement team, which we're just waiting for our new officers to be trained so we can start it. And it will be 2 detectives, a sergeant, plus the community service unit. And again, I don't call them a gang unit. We don't have a gang database, if anybody. We don't label kids. Some kids have bad behavior, but we don't label them as gangs. I think if you're 13 or 14 or 15, you don't have the mental capacity to believe, to actually be in a gang. I think they're under the influence of some wrong people, and our job is to target the ones who are the leaders, and then use a different wraparound holistic approach to try to get these other kids diverted into something, whether it's sports, music, something that a normal childhood experience when I grew up in Chelsea was. Chelsea's always been a tough place. At least you can, it's always been a tough place. We've always had a gritty side. There's been issues, but we've always been able to get through it because of the uniqueness of it, that everybody knows each other, everybody talks to each other. It's like, it is really one big family. And that is our secret, I think, that will get through this. And I'll be happy to answer any questions, like Officer McLaughlin on the hub. Like, there's a lot of moving parts. I just want to let you know that. And we have a very young department now. We'll train probably better than even Officer McLaughlin's been on for 6 or 7 years. Again, it's public health approach. It's take your time. What are these kids dealing with? It's not just arrest them. It's what's going on in that soul of that child. Can we do something different to change? And that is our philosophy, and we hopefully overall the strategy will work.
Chief, I just wanted to ask, and I commend all of you, and I appreciate all of you for being here. And I think that's great, because you do want to try to deep dive into what the root of the problem is and try to potentially divert them into another path, right? We work really closely with other organizations to offer programming for kids, financial literacy, all types of different programmings. There's a coding program being offered next week by the CBC, free of charge by Google, to teach kids how to code from grades 8 to 11. And I think that, the city does an amazing job at providing programming, and it just seems like the challenge really is how to get the kids to actually commit to going to these programs. That's one. And then I guess, again, I'm speaking on behalf of some individuals that shared questions that couldn't be here. And I guess the question then becomes, while these young adults might not be making the best decisions and maybe influenced, where does the accountability come in for them for some actions? Because some of them might not be that young of age, right? And while we want to redirect and we want to try to offer programming, I think that to some aspect we have to consider accountability when we've tried to redirect on several occasions, and it doesn't seem to work.
That is a huge problem. In the last 4 or 5 years, most of these young people are juveniles, so they're 18 or under. And to me, they should be held more responsible if they're doing something repeatedly. The problem is even on the federal level and the state level, you really have to be multiple times before the courts will take into consideration. I mean, I can just a few anecdotal stories. The state police in Lynn arrested a Chelsea youth who was only 17 with a handgun, 17, and he was released to his mother. Those days, that means there has to be something more than that. We had other issues, same thing. It's release, and it takes multiple times before, or something so serious that the DA's office has power to do something. So that is one problem. The other problem is always, which we're trying to really get ahead of, is communication. I think we're better off in the schools now, and we're going to have 2 more SROs starting at the beginning of March. A lot of stuff starts in the schools. It's not just Chelsea Public Schools. We have the Phoenix School, we have the Charter School, and we have the school up in Admirals Hill, and we also have the Shore Collaborative. We have a lot of schools here, and a lot of those kids are not from Chelsea. The Shore Collaborative, the Phoenix, I'm not sure the school at Admirals Hill, and we need to be on a better page. I don't want to pick on the counselor, but she said one of the best things at our Monday meeting, that we always talk about first responders, that Steve, Emergency Management, Officer McLaughlin, myself, the fire, teachers are first responders. She said that the other day, and I wrote it down on my notes, and they are. They are first responders, and we need them to be in that team that they see it first. They see it brewing, they see it coming, and we just see something, say something to us. And we really do need that level of communication. I think the barrier has always been in the last few years, if I'm a teacher, I'm a social worker, their mind is education and to help a child. But that's kind of similar to ours now. We're not there to arrest, I think, and we need the teaching staff. I talk to the superintendent all the time. She's all for this. We need to keep on building that trust that we're not here to arrest people. We're not. But there is consequences, but like we all have to be on the same page. We're all trying to do the right thing, and our missions are all kind of at the end the same, but the way to get there, and we need to make it, instead of being very wide, to narrow it down, that we're all on the same page. Because like I said, I'm very proud of our department. Officer McLaughlin's out there all the time helping people. These are the opioid age, older people, and the people who have alcohol issues. We have officers in court every day, doing sections to try to save these people's lives. We're really good at it, but we need almost like a public awareness campaign. I have like a 10-point plan. Another thing that Councilor Sandegate and myself are on is we need to let people know what we do.
Absolutely.
And that's like one of my main goals. I'm developing a 10-point strategy that I can outline later, but that is one of the big things. How do we get the communication out community-wide?
Well, I think that's going to help a lot of the citizens in the community, because I just don't think that they really understand some of the challenges and the barriers that the police department has, and the rules that you need to follow to be able to get the results that you're looking for. And I think that if citizens in the community had a little more education on the process and things that you need to kind of check off before, to make sure everybody involved is safe, that we're doing what's in the best interest of the young adult, I think it would help, because just today you've said a few things that it's just like, okay, that makes sense, that makes sense. And I feel like if more people in the community understood kind of like the boxes that need to be checked, or just understood the process a little bit more, I think there would be a little bit more understanding and less frustration on their part, where they just assume nothing's being done. They just assume that, it's like a revolving door. And I think that if they were educated more on the process that needs to be taken with the young adults, then maybe they would be a little bit more understanding and willing to maybe support a little bit more.
I was going to say, I think that one of the positive byproducts of informing will be enlisting the community, because as you said, we are small and we're close, and I think, and we talked about this the other day, what people imagine is always often worse than what's really going on, and I think if we can be straight about what's happening, I think it will quell some anxiety, because they'll know that you're on it, but I also think that it will get residents involved more, and that there'll be a more we're all in this together attitude about it.
I think the city manager's obviously he has a schedule like he's on world tour in Chelsea. So, and I intend to follow him on that. So if you have T-shirts with everything in the back, I'll be fine. I would like to make an announcement. There's a perfect segue that it's something I've been trying to do, and we're finally going to do it. The collaborative right next door is ground zero for Chelsea. It really is. It's kind of where people process their way. It's almost like Ellis Island of Chelsea. And I've been wanting to assign like a community investigator, and I am. We're finally going to do it. We're going to make an announcement next week. It's going to be Detective Rosalba Medina, who's so well known, so well respected. So I'm going to embed her at the collaborative. She'll actually be working out of there, because there's so many things that can help, like unreported crimes, that she'll be the face of the department, trustworthy. And also, as these new families come here from different parts of the world, that's the first police officer I want them to meet, to know that this is not a country that we're not military, we're not taking mom or dad away from you. So we did it before with Mass General back in the mid-2000s with Officer Mojica, who's another great asset who's coming back very soon.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he'll be coming back, and
wow.
He will be mirroring constituent service. He's going to be working for my office, and kind of working with the city manager's office, and I call it putting out fires, just as you said. Let the truth get out there, let everybody know very quickly. It's almost like a firefighter response. He's like the first alarm guy to go out there. Rosie will be here embedded with, and you have to have the faces that people trust, people know, and I think it'll make a big difference. So we're going to start from the bottom, and hopefully there'll be a swell of people. We have a great city councilor who's lived a life, who's helping us. I think he's doing a ride-along with one of our officers next week. We need mentors that kids will trust and listen. Will they trust the police all the time? Probably not. Will they trust a teacher or social worker or someone from Roca? Probably not. But someone who, like I am so fascinated of his life, who came from an impoverished country through the gang lifestyle, and then I'm going to a great college and like so successful. And he's the first person I said, I need people like you. I would listen to you as a young kid. Like, and as he said, these young kids have a great opportunity, like the golden ticket from Willy Wonka. Use the golden ticket. Don't rip it up and go astray. So all those little ground swelling, more people we can get involved, the better off it'll be. Because I do think it's so unique, like that we have people in every neighborhood that know something, and the communication's getting out. And again, you know stuff that when we, just to let everybody know, we have the emergency management director set up a group kind of page on an app that we allow, if something happens, could be fire, emergency management side, police side, we let the city officials know immediately, so they know what's really going on before the media gets to it. You know, and obviously the city manager gets a different level because he needs to know more detailed information, and emergency management director would know more detailed information. But I think it's helpful, right?
Very much. Even in the regard that although some of it is confidential, to be able to stop on social media by interjecting and saying, actually there's more to that story and details will come out, but I do that often, or try to solve it, or send people in the right direction.
No, but you have constituents to answer. He has the whole city to answer. I do. No, Officer McLaughlin and Sergeant Chung do social media. We usually don't put out, like, we're trying to be proactive and positive on social media. We'll put something out if it's something, you know, the lousy instance, of lack of better words, and try to give as much information. But if you're from the DA's office, we can only give limited information. You're talking a lot of times juveniles, like domestic violence, sexual assaults. Those are very restrictive under public record laws. But I try to give the best I can. And if there was something dangerous or something that everybody needs to know, you're going to know. And then
it's more just that.
Well, you know, the social media.
And I feel like it needs to get nipped in the bud. It can really get wild online, and I think that just fuels people's anxiety. And
we've discussed should we answer should we answer as a police department on, like, say Chelsea Happenings.
Yes,
that's one of the biggest. And
you're like, don't touch it.
Yeah. And I first said
I agree with you.
I first said maybe, then we said no, it's not worth it. It just opens up Pandora's box. It's better to do it the way we do it. Officer McLaughlin, Sergeant Chung put out so many positive things. Like, let's stay positive with that and don't get in a shouting match. I mean, I came on the job with rotary phones, computers. I thought it was common sense, just answer them. But it's the wrong way to go. I learned from the younger officers, don't go down that road. Don't go down that road.
I think sometimes when you see that on Facebook too, you're just kind of like, okay, now you just kind of know, all right, that's a little bit much. And I think most people understand that.
I have another quick funny story because I trust the two officers greatly with they don't have to get my approval, but they did ask yesterday, someone had a foul language comment on a post.
Did you take it off?
Well, it's First Amendment rights. It's very, like, if you want to make it a public post, you've got to accept the good and the bad. You know, but Sergeant Officer McLaughlin came up with a little, what do you call it, a GIF, like something?
Yeah, like some basically.
Kind of a humorous response to the person.
Yeah, so we had like, so we responded with just like a generic, you know, kind of GIF, like, laughing at him, and he actually laughed at our response.
Yeah.
He was like, okay, like, all right, and that was the end of it.
No,
so,
we just discussed this yesterday during the big snowstorm. We sat there, and I
sat with them yesterday.
And I sat with the two officers, and they really wanted to address it, and they said, let's address it with humor. Let's address it with, like, and they told me 10 minutes later that he answered back, like, with a emoji of his own that, hey, you got me, like, kudos, like, you got me. And so things like that, I'm, like, so proud of what they do and, like, what we're trying to do. And again, I would never think of answering a question like that. I would say, pull it off the site.
I will say this, because we run into similar instances, and we discovered that there are keywords that you can flag on your account, so that if they're using certain language, it automatically doesn't allow that to post.
Oh, that's good to know.
So there is a setting that you can use, so that if they're using, foul language,
Yeah.
if there are any keywords that you're trying to prevent from being on there,
Right.
the system will the platform will automatically recognize as being a word that you at, and then there's a freedom of speech, but you should also be held accountable for the content, and so that if the content isn't in line, it's not even able to
Yeah,
post.
so it was a page that, a pretty popular Chelsea page that shared our post, so they commented on that post.
I think that
So that's-
still might
yeah,
work
that's how I'm
because
wondering
it's your
if it
original
travels.
post,
Yes,
but
but-
we can look into that, and I'll.
Yes, it was funny, when I went to go look at the post that we posted just to see what the reaction was, it wasn't on our actual post, that I had to go to this other page, and I said, oh, there it is, right there. But, I mean, just to be, this just is what I believe. This kid that made the post was pretty young, not a juvenile, but young. And just like I feel like every juvenile that's going through this and committing these, crazy acts, they just want attention. And it's not even like, I think they're like craving like someone to care about them.
Everybody wants to
I
be
know.
seen.
I think that they probably, a lot of them might have parents that work 16, 18, 20 hours a day. So where are they going to? The people that are leading them in the wrong direction because they're getting some kind of attention. When I was at a bad accident last night, and some of the kids that lived down the street, they came out and they were recording us, and they said, oh, I'm on a scanner, and they were saying, police are here and they're arresting a guy. And I said, hey, guys, you're not even on my channel, I can't hear you. And they said, oh, and they just want, someone to like pay attention to them. And that's why it's so hard to see them so young getting into this trouble. But, then the other side of me says they're just kids that just don't have the,
I think that's important to
Yeah.
sort of look at what happened, and then what I had to do as an educator for so many years is back up and think, okay, this happened. So I had to think with the end in mind as to how did this happen?
Right.
And then I would back up and think, okay, what's happening at home? What's happening, a lot of times you say, oh, they were released to their parents, but that's not always going to be a solution.
No.
Because 9 times out of 10, they're behaving the way they are because they can't rely on their
And
parents.
because it's not the fault of the parents, they're probably doing the best they can to support
Absolutely.
them and their siblings.
Yes.
But that's why I would love to see something come out like community service, or just,
Yes.
because that would be something that they're engaging in with other kids, and there's consequences for what they
Yes.
do. Some of it might not be community service they like, but hey, you know what, it just goes to show you, like, we see what you're doing, we don't like it, we're not gonna ruin your life, but there is gonna be consequences here, so.
There are, and you got to get in that tunnel of why.
Yeah.
And there's lots of whys that have to go into each person who's
Right.
making questionable choices. And it's a long process.
Yeah, I was going to say, and you were there too, Jim. I don't know how many of you know, but the Rotary Club sends 20 kids to
Yes.
Camp Rotary every
Awesome.
summer. And last year, Jen and I and Nicole and Officer Maldonado drove the kids up to school. And for several years, the police department supplies the van and officers volunteer. And it's just wonderful. It's heartwarming that the police department gets involved with these kids. And we were up at camp, and one of the little kids, who must have been 8 or 9, came up to me and said about Officer Maldonado, he's a cop, he's actually a nice guy. These kids have an impression of the police at such a young age. Where does that come? Well, we know where it comes from. And it's so sad, but Nicole, you were telling me about some of the things that you and Jonathan were doing with the youth programs, and it's wonderful.
Yeah.
But the more these kids are exposed to our police force, and so many of them are young and they're from Chelsea, it's terrific. But the more you folks can get out there with these little kids, the better it's going to be.
Yeah. Try to give them little stickers, or any interaction I have, I try to give them, some of them won't even talk to me, they won't even look at me. And they are with their parents a lot, and they're probably, never going to have them go against what their parents tell them, but I do try to wave at them or, smile, especially if I do like a detail in the market basket. I see them all the time, and, they look at me and they're kind of scared, and, if I give them a sticker or something, it's just more just that, hey, I'm not a bad person, we're not all bad. you know, it's just a little action. So try to get as many as you can especially when they're young.
I also want to add, now I'm going to put my parent hat on, right? So as being a product of the Chelsea public school system and raising 2 girls in the public school system, I think one of the biggest things that impacted me as my girls went to school, and something that I have the luxury of doing because of where I work, is being supportive when they are at those extracurricular activities, especially the sporting events. You know, my little one is the athlete, so I have the privilege throughout her middle school and high school, she just started, of being able to go to those events. And what I find is that unfortunately, I'm one of one. And so when I'm there, I don't necessarily learn everybody's name, but I learn what their numbers are. And so when they're doing something, and then I became known as so-and-so's mom because they just recognized me from being at all the games. So that's something that I'm going to continue to do, but I'm going to ask the community, if you're out there and there's a sport going on, a softball game, a football game, a basketball game, that's you doing your part, just going. You might not know anybody, but you're cheering for the community and you're cheering for the kids, and sometimes that's all they want. And even now, like, you know, when I'm walking through the school for whatever, they're like, hey, how's it going? They don't know my name from a hole in the wall, but they remember my face as being there, helping to support them, playing a sport that maybe somebody from their family wasn't able to attend. So I just think it's really, really important that if we really want to be a community and you want to put your money where your mouth is, if there's a sporting event or some type of event that the young generation is doing, you need to come out and you need to support that. It takes maybe an hour, 2 hours tops, but it makes the biggest difference in the world, and the kids really do appreciate it.
Great idea. I was also thinking too, how we have the popsicle truck, but I think that some of that adolescent age band, that's a little young for them. And I wondered if there was a way to have something specifically for that older crowd, like something where you're showing up and it'll suit the many purposes. It'll feed kids. It'll be a chance to check on them, and also a chance to sort of show them that you're in show them in a different light. Like,
Well, the kids like ice cream too.
they do.
Yeah, they do.
And some of the other
We were
ones,
thinking
they
about-
won't. They won't.
Yeah, we were thinking of getting a trailer that could do like more of a barbecue thing.
Yeah.
for
A barbecue or
But
tacos
like
or
that.
just something.
But
We have food.
what Jennifer said, like growing up here, I have great memories. I'm on the same street with my friends walking to Little League after school. I only went to kindergarten and technically in Chelsea. I lived on the Everett line. I went to Our Lady of Grace and I went to Pope John. But those are my neighborhood friends. We still played on Saturdays and Sundays. I was playing youth hockey, baseball with them. That's what we need. We need mentors. Like, it's sad that Chelsea doesn't have a Little League. I don't think they do. I really don't. Or youth soccer, something that's not expensive, that is so known to them. When you walk around all these businesses, you don't see American football on, you see soccer on. It doesn't cost a lot. Can we get like real mentors to have these kids in the neighborhoods to have a youth soccer league that actually travel and...
I thought there was 1 or 2 programs here in the Chelsea.
When I coached outside the city, it was always sad, Chelsea did not have one. Revere was the closest one around here that had, I'm talking like the traditional, like the youth soccer league, the Essex County, Suffolk County.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking organized.
Yeah, they had an organized league in Highland Park, but I don't think it was like affiliated with other cities. It was
And
just with.
some of those kids were older and not from Chelsea and it caused they were a little disruptive.
Okay.
But I would like to get the baseline back of, like, you don't need a lot of money to start something. It really just takes someone like you, one parent, to like get it going. And like I just said, Little League is usually we have 1 practice a week and you played maybe 1 or 2 games, and it's literally 3 hours a week. That's all it is. It's a short window, and you have playoffs. Then we used to have the all-star teams, the district teams that back in the days, a lot of our offices were pretty good. They had some good runs going to the Little League World Series. One team almost made it to that. They fell 1 game short back when I was younger. I just think that's the missing link. Like, these kids are they're single parent homes, like they're no parent homes, and they have nothing to do. Their mind is wandering. It's video games that are all violent. Everything that I kind of wrap my head around. it just, we gotta divert some energy positively.
I think sports is definitely one way, but also the arts. I mean, I look at Zoom Mix in East Boston and what that has provided. But I think that when you were walking a Little League, we were over on the corner of Watts and Highland putting on a show. Like, that's what we did in the summer. We sang, like, you just listened to the radio.
I have to tell you an anecdotal story, because my mother brings this up all the time. My cousins were all in the arts, musicians. And my mother would say, like, learn how to play the guitar, like a piano. She says, you're not going to the pros, you're not going to be in the NHL. And every one of them have done so well. They have their own careers, but they've made so much money, like playing at weddings and pianos and bands. And, they were in the plays, and just went a different trajectory. You know, some kids like me, I wanted to be the athlete. But there's the arts, you just said about coding. If these kids have the gift, talking about...
One kid signed up for the class now.
Oh my goodness,
But do they even know what coding is?
if they knew what it was and how much, like, their career could, that is an art, that's a gift.
I always tell them how much the salary is.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
That's usually.
And tell them, like, the reason why TikTok's following them by giving them stuff is because someone's coding the back end. If they knew that, I think they'd be fascinated. I don't think I'd have the capacity, but if you get 1 out of 10 that could do that, that's a career for life, and that's not going anywhere.
So I wanted to add that I had a listening session at the high school last week on Tuesday, and then I presented my 100-day action plan at the city council, and obviously the council had their priorities meeting last Tuesday as well. So there is significant overlap in all of this stuff, right, on all the work, and so all to say that one of the biggest priorities of this council and of mine is going to be hopefully the exploration and ultimate construction of a youth center. So it's something that we've been talking about, I think, for a long time in Chelsea. It's not something that we have. We have isolated places. Like we have the Boys and Girls Club, which really focuses on a certain population of kids, right, of age. We have the community schools, which is a different population, but the theme is to create a place where all children can thrive, right? And whether it's arts, whether it's sports, whether it's and honestly, I talked to the folks that run the leagues in Highland Park, and they are at capacity. They're like, we would love to do more, right? But our situation is that it's not enough space to do more. So we're excited about it. I've had a few meetings that maybe I can disclose. One is the YMCA is itching to come to Chelsea. So they're really excited about having a true YMCA in Chelsea. We also went to visit the youth center in Brookline, which is an independent building that runs as a nonprofit in Brookline, and we've done a few listening sessions on how it works and where to do it. So this council and I for sure are going to be investing a lot of time, energy, and money on this idea of a youth center. We're not building a parking garage. We're going to build a youth center instead.
I'm sorry, where was this?
I'm kidding. The parking garage? On the parking garage? Yeah.
Both of those things end up on the same.
Yes. Parking garage and a youth center.
I mean, it's tough, and we all recognize that there's a challenge that we have ahead of us, and trying to figure out what the best solution is. And I think that the beginning of that solution is what we're doing right now, is having a round table, having conversations. And, as far as social media or any of these other media platforms, it's easy to make comments or to draw your conclusions. It takes more of an effort to actually show up and be vocal. And again, if you can't physically be there, do the outreach so that your voice can still be heard and someone can speak or ask these questions on your behalf.
I have so many ideas about these things. I know they do listen to us to a certain degree. some more than others, but like, if we could kind of enlist somebody famous in their world, I really think that would go far if you had, you know, instead of knocking down the TikTok, like have somebody
Yeah, like a TikTok
from
star.
have a star come and talk, have somebody here
Yeah.
that they can kind of connect to that is taking, or even learning how to do that, like have a class where you learn. We had something for podcasting at the library, like make that stuff cool.
Youth is doing a DJ workshop for their
Yes.
youth, which has been amazing. Deborah Zabat has been leading that charge, and they're doing their second workshop of DJing. And we had 2 community members that grew up in Chelsea. One of them is a promoter, and he does amazing work. He works for La Colaborativa a lot. And he basically said, hey, I was born here, I mean not born here, excuse me, but he came here, he went to the high school, and this is the path that he chose, and he gave them a blueprint on how he did it. And you know, a DJ can lead into being a promoter, but it just gave them, and they were so proud. We went to a concert that they had across the street, and they all had their own DJ set. We actually just donated a laptop across the street because one of the students wanted to participate and they didn't have a laptop. Well, we had a business owner drop off a couple of laptops to us and said, listen, these have been reset and wiped, give them to whoever needs them. And we were able to donate them to Youth Elemento. So I really I want to reiterate how proud I am for the organizations that are out there, that are trying, and we all, one way or another, either buy a laptop or a headset or are trying to do our part. And I commend you. I think that's a great idea to get someone from a somewhat celebrity status to try to come in and try to engage the kids. But I also, we're right at the threshold. I feel like we're right there. We just did. There's one little click that we need, and I know we're going to get there.
I do agree with you. I know Officer McLaughlin knows. I had money set aside. I wanted to do some type of public campaign of awareness. More just law enforcement, like what they do at the Houghton. I have asset forfeiture money, and we started preliminary talks with a former news reporter who has her own company, has done some outstanding work and with other cities. But I think if we collectively do something, we could pool resources. Because I spoke to you that night about having, if we had someone who actually, like someone that has 100,000 clicks every time he does something that would promote a positive message, like with all of us together, would be, you know, and then something could be bilingual and something that can go out across everything. Because those kids, I don't want to get too far into investigations, they all have their own DJs they follow, these little cliques of kids. They go by their own, like it's part of their, I'm not going to call them gangs, but I don't know who half these DJs are, but they all have them. So that is a huge draw to them.
The DJ?
They have like their own famous DJs that they use as their music, on their pages, you know, and everyone has one. Everyone, when my analyst tells me, and I really don't know who these guys are, but that's who they listen to.
Well, I want to be respectful of everyone's time, and I know we're drawing near to a close. Does anyone have any last-minute comments or questions that they might have? Yes, sir.
I want to say thank you for hosting, and thank you for making this space so active, bringing it back to life and bringing it back to the community. I really appreciate it.
Well, I honestly couldn't do that without the support of everybody in this room, especially the chief. I mean, we originally started this program when I first started, and it was a little bit of a challenge to get an audience. There were times here before the chief was here that we were kind of in the room just kind of staring at each other and didn't have many people here. We've come a long way, and I'm really proud of the work that we do here and the people that we collaborate with, such as City Hall, such as the police department, emergency services, everyone in this room. You know, we're the Chamber of Commerce, but we're also, I like to consider us the welcome center to the community. So that if you don't know who to go to, we'll make sure that we point you in the right direction and help you in any way that we can. So I just ask, please, you know, if you can, it's going to get warmer out soon, it's going to be lighter out later, so, you know, feel free to come out. We have the chief here with us every month, so you can't get any safer than having the chief.
And the ice cream truck's this almost being fixed.
Yeah.
Can I tell a quick story about the ice cream truck?
Please do.
It was really run down, and we decided to have the Northeast Regional kids. They had it since school started. And so for the whole year, they took it in. I said, I hope they want to take it. And they have it, they're fixing it, it's gonna be brand new. All we're gonna do is put the Northeast Regional sign, a lot of Chelsea kids, vocational, and
Can
then.
we host the unveiling of the truck here?
Yeah, I think we can, and I do like her idea. I've had ideas about having something that we can drive, like a barbecue, or just to do burgers, hot dogs, that attraction.
Get the best cook here. He's the Chelsea Day chef.
That's right, I'll have them. Steve, you're our executive chef. You can do the menu.
Because you're building a positive brand. I mean, that's what that is, and that's what the young people know.
No, I know, and it's, in fact, it was so sad that we had to put on the ice cream truck. I noticed some kids, we didn't go up because they thought they had to pay for it.
Oh.
And now our truck says it's free ice cream, it's free, yeah. But it wasn't there until this year. It was during the Juneteenth celebration. I just saw kids there, and we had to keep on telling them.
Oh, when we were at
Washington Park, and I didn't notice it, and one of the officers said, maybe we should just put free ice cream, and it happened right after that. So you don't even think of little things like that. The people, like, I don't have money to get an ice cream, and one officer's thought changed that, and so you learn as you go, keep going, and you're trying to keep on the process. But I was just a strange thing that you didn't realize that. We knew it's free, but these young kids didn't know it was free. They just sat there staring. So.
Well, we want to give a good shout out to Northeast for fixing our ice cream truck. Thank you very much, Northeast. And again, as I said, we look forward to seeing everyone next month at the next meeting. The topic of conversation will be the construction on the downtown area. This isn't going away, guys.
Very exciting.
Make
Very
sure you
exciting
come.
conversation we're going to be talking about.
Yeah, make sure you come and you have your voice heard. So thank you very much. Thank you to everyone for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.